Welcome back to another video, everyone. On today's video, we will be installing new cam chain followers and upgraded cams on a 2004 Harley Twin Cam 88. Now on this bike, it was most practical to remove the exhaust and foot peg, and then we began by removing the side cover, getting the motorcycle up a little bit higher with this lift. I went ahead and added this jack stand for safety because the lift was a bit flimsy. Now we're going through the procedure of holding the push rod covers up with rubber bands and paper clips. Then I put the bike in fifth gear and bump it back and forth to make sure that there's no tension on the push rod. And we're going to do the classic trick of cutting each push rod with bolt cutters so we do not need to disassemble the top end. We do this because there's a lot of spring tension on the push rods when they are actuating a valve. So you want to make sure that they are not actuating a valve when you cut each one. You're going to want to remove the spark plugs for that step as well. Next, we are going to use some binder clips to hold up the tappet or lifter so that it is up out of the way and does not fall into the case when we remove the cams. That was a little bit difficult to do because you have to sharpen the end of the binder clips, so don't forget to do that step. Next, we're removing the timing gears, the outer timing gears, and removing that entire cam plate. Just slides right out. Here I'm going to do a quick inspection, see how everything looks on the inside, check those inner bearings, which we're going to end up replacing. I was able to keep the timing locked by keeping those outer gears with the dots lined up in the chain on the bench. Next, we're going to remove the inner cam chain follower, and those come off pretty simply with a circlip and the removal tool. You can get away without using the tool, but I just bought all the necessary tools on eBay and sold them when I was done. One of the twin cams just comes right out. The other cam is pressed into the bearing that's part of the cam plate. To remove both of them, you need to remove this retainer, which has Torx screws, I believe, 4 of them. Those are going to get reassembled with Loctite. You can see here one just pops right out, and next I had to use a makeshift shop press to press the other one out. Came right out though, no problem. Here you're going to need a specialty tool, the bearing removal tool, which I bought on eBay for $70. It was just the cheapest option that I could find. Very, very straightforward. Has a collet that goes inside that roller bearing. Simply slide the pin in and they just pull right out. Very, very simple. I'll put the new part numbers in the description. Next, you are going to press in one of those cam bearings. It's advisable to leave the roller cam bearing in place. And here we are going to press in those new full roller bearings that they recommend you install when you do cams on the Twin Cam 88. You basically use the plate from this kit, screw it into the case holes, and it presses that bearing right in place. Does not take a lot of force to do this. Very, very straightforward. You do not need any expensive specialty tools. Just this cheap eBay tool does quite well. After I get those new bearings pressed in for the inner portion of the twin cams, I go ahead and prepare to install my upgraded cams in the cam plate. Went with Andrews TW21 cams. Going to start by lining up the timing marks, and I'm just comparing them to the old, making sure everything is going together as I expect it to, making sure everything is correct because I definitely don't want to disassemble this again. So I start off by pressing that one cam into the new bearing in the cam plate. I don't have a press, as I mentioned, so it didn't take much force to just press this right in with the vise. You want to make sure that that retention plate is there ready to be screwed in, otherwise you're going to be taking it apart twice. For the cam followers, we used aftermarket Psycho shoes, which a lot of people recommend. It's a really cheap way to replace those followers. You could see my old followers are just absolutely toast. So you basically grind out the old pin. The kit comes with the 2 new shoes, new pins. You put it all back together and then you kind of peen it over with a hammer and punch and a solid steel surface. I used that steel plate that came with the bearing removal tool. So here I am taking care of the other side. Next up, using some blue Loctite to secure that retention plate on the inside of the cam plate. think the book calls for blue Loctite in this circumstance, so tightening those up, hit those with whatever the proper torque spec was. Then we are going to reinstall the cam chain followers using that special tool. You can kind of just load that spring, slide them on each spindle, and then add each circlip. Then we use the locking pins to kind of hold them away from the cam chain so that we could set the spin the cams freely during installation. Adding the circlip here for the cam that sits in that new bearing, and of course adding the outer cam chain tensioner. Going to preload this with the tool as well, and then again use those pins that came in the toolkit to set them back so that we can install the outer cam gears and chain easily once it is installed back in the bike. Also adding that new guide on the outside. It wasn't too worn, but best to just replace it while I'm in there. Now I'm double checking the oil O-rings. I got a new kit for the oil O-rings, and I'm going to remove this plate about 4 times to double check that the O-rings are in the proper position for all the oil passageways. You can see those pins sticking out of the cam plate holding each tensioner away. Blowing out each hole in the case with compressed air so that when we put our bolts in, we don't run the risk of splitting the case if there's fluid in there. And then, of course, we're going to install all of those bolts. I believe those got blue Loctite as well. And then, of course, we're going to torque them to spec in the correct sequence. I bought myself a nice new quarter drive Tecton torque wrench for this project. You can see I'm just going around double checking everything. Now each of these gets a specific washer before you put on the outer cam gears and chain, and I'm checking it with a feeler gauge to make sure it's within spec listed in the book. Each bolt then gets red Loctite, gets torqued down to a low spec, loosened, and then torqued to the full spec. I use this cam chain locking tool. That made it a little bit easier to torque everything and put it back together. You'll note I also took the tension off the outer cam chain follower and the inner after I was able to get everything lined up. It's important you check all your timing marks on the outside and make sure that those 2 dots on those outer gears are aligned with one another after you crank the engine over. So you can see I'm doing the torque process here. Okay, very important next step. I thought I could save some money and just purchase the S&S Quickie push rods without new covers, but you do need S&S Quickie covers because the covers are shorter so that you can actually get to that push rod adjusting nut and lock nut. So I had to run out and go to a local shop to purchase the complete kit, which is a little bit expensive. It was around $300, $350, something like that. Then, of course, I'm going through the process of doing each push rod. The simplified explanation of the procedure is that you bump the engine over until the tappet for the push rod you're doing is at its lowest point. That would mean that that valve is not being actuated. You then install the adjustable push rod until you get 0 lash, which means it can't go up and down any longer at all. Once you hit that 0 lash point on that down tappet, you then rotate it, I believe it was 3.5 turns, lock it in place. You wait for the lifter to then bleed down for about an hour, and you should be able to spin each by hand. So you just basically do this process on each one, make sure there's new O-rings in place, make sure you have your push rod cover in place, and you can hold them up with rubber bands and paper clips. After checking that each push rod spun freely, I was then able to crank the engine over, make sure everything sounded and looked okay. Pretty straightforward procedure. I did buy solid push rods and all the top end gaskets in case I had any issues with these. So far I've got about 70 miles on this setup and no issues so far. I prepared all of my gaskets and got all of the mating surfaces clean with a razor blade. They were already pretty clean because I had this disassembled before for inspection. It's really important to use compressed air here and blow out each hole on the case to make sure that there's no oil in there so that when you are tightening the case with the bolts, you don't end up splitting the case. This is noted in the user manual as well. Then, of course, following the sequence of tightening all of these side cover bolts to the correct torque spec, there's a certain sequence you must do. Just follow the user manual for that. And then, of course, reassembling everything, exhaust, intake, mufflers, etc., so that we can fire this thing up and test it out. Also want to make sure you check the oil. It is a dry sump, I believe it's called, so you didn't really lose too much oil from taking the side cover off, but I did have to add about 1 quart. And now we are ready to fire it up and test it out. You can hear it's running pretty well. Idle sounds a little bit different. I didn't end up tuning this. Thought it ran pretty well as is, but if I can get a programmer, I will end up doing some sort of guess tune. Thought about dyno tuning it and ultimately decided against it. Runs great, a little bit more power, sounds great. So lastly, I'll just double check for leaks, make sure everything is looking good, and take it for a test ride. Thank you so much for watching this video. Feel free to leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and check out my other videos.